You're doing all the right things. You're eating healthy, you're working out, but the weight just won't budge. What is the problem? Well, it's probably one of these 5 things. I'm going to break them down for you right here. If you're doing any of these mistakes, it is probably the culprit. That's what I've at least seen with my clients over the years. I've been a trainer for 10 years, and whenever one of them isn't losing weight, usually it's one of these 5 things. Now, the first 3 are going to be more of like nutrition based, and then the last 2 are going to be more training based. Both are obviously very important, and so we're going to get into it right now. Okay, so mistake number 1 is thinking that healthy eating is for fat loss eating. Now, I'm not saying they're completely separate either, but things like healthy fats, that's like avocado oil and olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, avocados themselves, peanut butter, nut butters, peanuts, almonds, things like that. They're very healthy. They are very heart healthy, and healthy for your body and your overall health. But losing weight, if you do that on high fat diets, tends to be very difficult. And so these healthy fats are one of the bigger culprits for a person not actually losing weight. Another mistake that I see people make is that and we're going to get into like the measuring of healthy fats and everything soon, but kind of a side mistake to that within the same point, healthy eating being for fat loss eating, is simply adding fruits and vegetables. And that is good. I'm not saying that's bad at all. You are going to be more healthy. But if you take your exact same diet and add fruits and vegetables and nothing else changes, you are literally going to be gaining weight. So here's the fix. It is having lean protein, fruits and vegetables as a staple in your diet. That's I have recipes. I have a free recipe book. If you go to Instagram, find Aaron Trainer Fitness over there, just DM me. I'll send that over to you for free. So they don't have to be boring. I'm not saying you have to have like a piece of salmon, broccoli, and a banana, or strawberries or something. It can be fun things, but we need to eat for less calories and have high volume of food so that you feel full and you're taking in a good amount of protein. Fruits and vegetables increase the volume. Now, it might not be super protein heavy, but increases the volume and allows you to reduce your calories. And those things are what's going to actually help you budge in weight loss. If you're interested in actually learning how to keep the weight off, like after getting the weight off, that's something that people have a lot of problems with. A lot of people can lose the weight, they just can't actually keep it off. I'm going to put my video up here in the title card, or link in the description, or in the pinned comment, so that you can see my entire system that I run clients through. I call it my dial system, and it's a way of just dialing in all of these facets. I go into more detail there, and it'll really help you with your weight loss. The second mistake, and I think this is probably from a nutrition standpoint, probably the most common that I see with my clients, is overusing oil. Now, again, this goes really hand in hand with the first one, which is like healthy eating. Oil is very healthy. Even canola oil and seed oils seem to show really good health benefits, despite what influencers say and everything. But even if you just stuck to like avocado oil and what's the other one that's a big, the coconut oils tend to be, people think that they're healthy. Either way, we are, and actually coconut oils have a lot of saturated fat. So I'm not here to debate the healthiness of different types of oils. Extra virgin olive oil, let's just go with that. When people pour that into their food and literally don't measure it and they're just pouring it all in, it is insane how many calories you can add to a meal. I mean, to a recipe, one client I remember specifically, she always added olive oil because it is healthy, and I'm not arguing that at all. She always added olive oil to her recipes, and I had her one time blindly measure, like, okay, so you put it on the scale, press tare, put in what you would normally put in, don't deceive yourself, put in what you actually put in, and then remeasure it. She was putting in close to 700 calories of oil. Now you might be thinking, well, that's just an idiot. I'm telling you, it doesn't take much for 700 calories of oil, especially, just something that's pure oil that is, not just like peanut butter or a nut butter or something like that. Even that is shocking how little you actually get. If you ever want to be depressed, measure out a serving of peanut butter. But oil is the same way. It's like 109 calories, maybe a little bit, maybe 129. I can't remember. So the fix here is really simple. You just start measuring your oil. And a really easy way of doing this, if you like pour it in a tablespoon and then pour the tablespoon into the recipe, it makes it really difficult to actually get all of the oil that's in that tablespoon because it kind of sticks to the side. And since it's so calorie dense, I mean, you want that oil on the side. It really is a high percentage of what was in that tablespoon. Maybe it's 5-10% of what was in the tablespoon. If you let it sit there, it'll all collect in the bottom. It's shocking how much was still on the sides of a tablespoon. So anyways, put it on the scale, press tare, and then pour it until, or you can put it in a dish, doesn't matter. 14 grams roughly is going to be a tablespoon of oil. Different oils might be slightly different. It's not nearly going to be off enough to matter. And so 14 grams for 1 tablespoon of oil. And that's how I make sure to add it to recipes or onto something individual. It is shocking how little 14 grams is. So again, this is something that's really going to help you accelerate your fat loss if you're not already doing this. Another fix is to use nonstick spray. I find that a mistake with nonstick spray is that people will just continue to spray it. And if you look at the, what is 0 calories on the nonstick spray can, is 1/4 of a second of nonstick spray. So it's like a spritz. So, I still don't, I spray it for longer than 1/4 of a second, but I try to keep it to as little as possible. I think an entire can of nonstick spray has somewhere around 3,000 calories in it. So there is calories in those cans. If you look at the total amount of grams of fat that are in there times now 9 calories per gram, the total amount of grams of product that are in there times 9 calories per gram for, fat. It's a lot of calories. And so you can't just go crazy with those, but that is a way of really reducing your oil consumption. If you're weird about the spray cans or whatever, then you could just pour olive oil into like a oil spritzer. I'm sure you can find one pretty cheap on Amazon, where that'll help you control the amount of oil that you do. And I wouldn't even add that. If it's just for non-stick purposes, I wouldn't even add that to your calories for that day. Mistake number 3 goes very similarly with what we've been talking, but kind of a little bit further, and that's not measuring the small things. So I'm going to start with things we've kind of already talked about, and that's things like sauces and oils, where you're even like ketchup, but especially things like ranch or Caesar, anything that's really high fat. It's shocking how many calories are in those. There's kind of a theme going on here of how shocking the calories are in high-fat things. So be measuring your sauces, or don't use sauces, or use 0-calorie sauces so you don't have to measure. Things like mustard, hot sauce. You can add flavor with peppers, things like that you don't really have to measure if you don't want to, because they're so low calorie. But especially if you're using full fat sauces, I know Chick-fil-A or places, chicken sauce and stuff like that. It's crazy how high calorie those are, because that's really just fat flavored for, or seasoned or flavored or whatever for chicken. So for oil, sauces, you got to be measuring them. That is by far the easiest way to fix that problem, or to reduce, again, the sauces that you're eating to 0 calories. But then there's also this big one of people my clients usually just call it grazing, where if you're making food, you eat something here, you eat something there. And it is crazy how fast the calories add up. Especially if you're I have 800 calories left for the day. This little package of cookies for my toddler. I say that because I have one, and we have little packages of cookies in there. It's only 80 calories. So, you're just I'll eat it later, or I'll log it later, or it's not a big deal or whatever. Whenever you do that, combined with grazing, such as eating something as you're preparing dinner, and you're not logging the sauces, and you use a little bit of oil. This right there, that you combine these mistakes, that is the reason you're not losing weight. Now, the next 2 are still very important, but usually in the kitchen is going to be the main culprit. If you're not making any of these mistakes, then it's probably with your training, and we're going to talk about that now. Okay, so number 4 is going to be HIIT cardio, or some type of high intensity interval training or high intensity cardio. A lot of people believe that this burns fat better because it is harder, and they're not wrong. During that moment where you are doing the burst, let's say it's 4 minutes, or even if it's a full 20-minute HIIT workout or whatever, you are going to be burning a lot of calories per minute during that 20-minute workout. But you're going to be burning a lot more calories if you do it for 45 minutes or an hour at a steady state, something that's manageable. Whenever you are doing HIIT cardio, you are going to be beating up the joints a lot more. It's a lot of people. I don't find that many people actually enjoy it, especially if you're watching this channel, you probably have some weight to lose. And if it's not like a lifestyle by now for you, maybe someday it will be. But right now, getting into your cardio being something that you dread long term, I don't find people have very much success with that. Steady state cardio helps you spare your muscle mass. So that's something that's very important, because you're not actually shocking the body very much. You're not working out the muscles. You're just simply going for a walk or whatever, cycling at a decent pace. The big thing is zone 2 right now. And the best way of measuring if I'm in zone 2 is, can I hold a phone conversation? Maybe it wouldn't be super comfortable. The person could tell you were doing something, but it wouldn't sound like you were working out. So you'd be able to breathe and have a conversation. You wouldn't be huffing and puffing, and the conversation wouldn't be super difficult to listen in on. There is this thought that EPOC, excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, is, this afterburn effect, if you will, is the reason that HIIT cardio is so important. I actually used to say this because it was just spouted so much. I guess I started to believe it, and I didn't look into it, and that's now I know better. But if you do intense cardio, the thought is that, you might only burn 200 calories during, this 30-minute intense cardio session, but you have this afterburn effect of burning 600 calories for the remainder of the day or something like that. It's not nearly that impressive. It's like the highest that has been seen in studies, which, there's only so many studies done, but still is 17% of the calories you burned. So 200 is a pretty, is a lot to burn in 30 minutes. Even if it was high intensity, you'd have to build up to the ability to do high intensity for 30 minutes. So if, let's say you burn something like 150 calories, 17% of that is going to be somewhere around, 30 extra calories, something like that. Not even 30. It's going to be like 25 extra calories. So it's nothing major. And there is still an excess post-exercise oxygen consumption afterburn effect for moderate intensity exercise. But you burn so much more during the actual moderate intensity or steady state or low intensity because you're doing it for so much longer that you end up burning way more calories anyway. And I think the desire for this comes from, I want to do less work. I want to spend less time doing this. And I get that. I totally sympathize with that. But if this is something that's important to you, spending a little bit more time doing it, and I work with my clients, I'm not saying like you have to do more cardio, you just have more. I work with people specifically on this. And I understand we have schedules and we have lives, but, giving yourself a little bit of extra time in order to get steady state cardio done, I'm telling you, that is really going to make a difference for you. Number 5, possibly the most common mistake, and I wonder on this list, I didn't have them ranked necessarily, but I feel like it would be up there in terms of what it's costing people, like the importance of this mistake. And that is not lifting weights. Now, weightlifting, yes, you might be thinking, weightlifting isn't for weight loss. Totally agree. It is for building muscle. Cardio, diet, steps, those are for, overall movement. Those are for actually losing body and belly fat, okay? And I'm with you on that. But if the process of you losing all this body fat comes with you losing your muscle, by the end you're going to hate what you see. I shouldn't say you're going to hate it. You're going to like it better than whenever you were overweight, I think. But you're still going to be so dissatisfied because you're going to be a skinny fat. You're going to have a lot more weight to lose than you think because let's say you lose 50 pounds and 20 of it was muscle. That's going to remove your shape. That's going to reduce your metabolism. If you ever wonder why so many people regain after losing a huge amount of weight, it's because they didn't screw up their metabolism, but for lack of a better term, they kind of screwed up their metabolism because it's not really their metabolism, it's that they lost all that muscle. And that muscle is very inefficient, meaning it burns calories just by existing. And so we want that muscle. In today's society where we don't have a problem with food, with how much food we have access to, we're probably not going to starve, God willing, I hope we don't. And if we don't, and we have access to all this food, we may as well let the inefficient tissue, our muscle, exist so it can burn more calories. So lifting weights is going to help you keep your muscle. It's also going to help you probably grow muscle. And whenever you grow muscle, you're going to have a higher, kind of what I was just talking about, but I want to specifically talk about it. You're going to have a higher basal metabolic rate. Just simply existing, you're going to burn more calories. And that is going to help you tremendously. You're going to be able to eat more and still lose weight, or eat more and maintain weight. Instead of having to eat 1,200 calories or 1,000 calories or something by the end of a diet, you can eat 2,700 calories and maintain your weight at the end of a diet. Or 2,200, probably closer to 2,000, 2,200 if you're a female to maintain weight. But you could build past that, certainly. I know plenty of women that have eaten 2,800 calories on their way to losing a ton of weight. Depends on the person, so don't take that and apply it to you and wonder what's wrong. Kind of depends on your whole situation. That's why personal training is a thing. So if you can keep your shape, keep your metabolism, look better, feel better, and something I should probably mention, almost all my clients report I feel better, I feel more confident about my body, and I haven't actually lost that much. And it's surprising. Number one, there is this effect of, you're gaining some muscle in the background and losing some body fat. So even though you lost 5 pounds, you actually probably lost something more like 7 pounds because you might have gained 2 pounds of muscle or something like that. But there is all this, your clothes will fit in a way that makes you feel like you have good shape to you. You can't really see it in here, but because of the black and everything. But my arms have good shape to them. I'm not saying I'm by any means, a model or anything. I'm just saying because of my arms having a little bit more shape and my shoulders having a little bit more size, it makes me appear even less, overweight than I am. And so it helps to have that shape underneath your clothes that make you feel confident about your body. If you want to go over the entire dial system, how to dial all this in and keep the weight off, like I mentioned earlier, my video is going to be right here. So go ahead and see over there. And if I can help you with anything else, leave it in the comments. See ya.